Consistency and persuasion are one of the most important things when it comes to influence. And I'm talking about influencing yourself. I'm in the lucky circumstance that I have my own coach. It's one of Brendon Burchard's coaches, the one who I deem to be my role model. And she is giving me a lot of homework. So we are doing the second round, which is talking about the cage life, the charge life, and about the life where you are like, well, it's good the way it is. And there's a lot of homework involved. Asking me questions about what new skill do you want to learn. Now, all considered, this last week I've been working on two things. First of all, I'm reading a book now, and I have learned that saying I'm going to read one book a week is a little bit going overboard. But the mere fact that I also told my own clients, and I've given training on that time and time again, take it one step at a time, plan 10 minutes a day to get things done, actually helps for me as well. So I'm doing that too. Now, like I said, persistence and pushing through are so important when it comes to influence, because we are talking about our own mindset. What do we tell ourselves? And when we give up, then we tell ourselves, okay, we can do it, And the next time the brain thinks, oh, you're not going to push through anyway, so why even bother to start? You might know that I've talked many times about the opt-in page, the landing page on Kajabi. And every month I do a challenge, the last weekend of the month. And last month it was the influence challenge. I told my coach, I want to keep on talking about influence. So every month I change the theme. And she said to me, well, why don't you do both? Because the theme of this month is supposed to be psychology mastery. And of course, influence is part of psychology. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But I still want to work on that one opt-in page. So every week, if not every day, well, not every day, but every week, multiple times a week, I'm working on that opt-in page. Today was such a day. And I made something and then I was like, oh my God, where did it go? And it might have been the result of my iPad being maxed out with all the videos that I've been doing. And I went through it like, okay, what is where, what kind of offers are there? So actually, I'm very thrilled that I can offer you a 7-day free trial for the Influence Challenge. And if you like it, you can always change it up to a permanent buy. But if you don't, then, you have a chance to get the idea of how I give training, how I do the challenges, and there are some little extras in there too. This would not have been possible if I hadn't pushed through. And I cannot tell you how many times I was like, but where? Where do I find it? How? That it was almost ready to give up. But in the last couple of months, one thing I really have learned is there's no such thing as giving up. There is such a thing as continuing on when it comes to that one project, that one thing. And that's the thing I do tell people. Let's focus on that one thing instead of doing everything like a little bit. But let's take that one thing to fruition. Because in the end, what we want to do is we want to be proud of ourselves. And is that going to work if we only do things partially? Or is that going to work when we actually know how to finalize it? When I give my group coaching training weekly, we get into what is it that keeps people from either achieving or working on, even that one thing they say they really want to do and really want to get out there. So whether it's about writing a book or whether it's about creating a toolkit, it doesn't really matter. It's about what do you deem that you need to do in order to, for instance, get that thing out there. So if you look at your role models and you are like, oh, but oh my God, they've done such a magnificent job. And I've heard how much time it costs to do it. Well, that's not going to work. We start with one step at a time. We go back to the basics. And in case of this opt-in page, I have to tell myself all the time, I go back to the basics. No, I'm not going to put an add-on on there. I'm not going to put an automation on there. I'm not even working on the email funnels. I am going to, but first I want that opt-in page out there. And when you look at it, it makes sense. And the following steps also make sense. So being a little bit disappointed because I had created the first layout of something very magnificent, and thank heavens that I actually had copied and pasted the text on there. I looked at a different opt-in page, which I had made before, and was like, okay, let's duplicate it. And then I started working on the text. Okay, so what do I want to get across when I talk about influence? Okay, so it's about having others as a role model, so they influence you. It's about you influencing other people. And then the most important part, as far as I'm concerned, you influencing yourself. Because we are unaware of how much what we do, or better said, don't do, affects our mindset, affects our brain. And well, the sooner that we are aware of this, the sooner we can change things. And that's why I'm happy and I'll say proud to say that yesterday I actually not only read a number of pages in the book, I also recorded a video. So I listed a few sentences and then I would tell my opinion about it. I'll post it later on. I don't know if I'm going to post it today. Today, I want to talk about what I did when it came to that opt-in page, because I believe that influence challenge is so important. And the cool thing is, I didn't just use the 3 days that I went live for an hour each day in a row, but I'm also using various PDFs that I've created in the last year and meditations that I've created during my group coaching training. So there's so much material out there that it's actually nice and also very rewarding to use it and get it out there. I have other people look at it and tell me, do you like this? What would you like to see different? And a lot of people also tell me that they like it when there are like pictures on there. And I've been playing around with shorts and everything. And, that has taught me a thing or two as well. And not just how to work and use artificial intelligence, but I've also asked someone, okay, please help me out. So she's my team member now. And in the past, I've had other team members, didn't really work out. And this time we are going back and forth, like, okay, how can I get a better perception myself of what it is I need and want to get out there? So that actually has to do with all the social media platforms. And what I noticed was you can give me a timestamp, but then I still don't know what's going on in your mind. So now I said, okay, so I would like to get a better perspective to see what is it that actually is speaking to you. Because if it's speaking to one person, it likely is also speaking to other people. And, that's training for me as well, figuring out how do these kind of things work. So I'm working on multiple skills at a time, the platform for the opt-in page, the communication when it comes to my team member, that we actually get this excellent way of working together, and I'm pretty sure that we can do and accomplish that. But also reading that book, and of course I'm still posting something every day, and that's also kind of cool. And yes, there are also other things, like when I realized that my iPad was filled up to the max, that it couldn't even do an update. And I was like, okay, so I need to change things. Then I realized that one of the apps that I'm using is actually locally installed. And I just had to get rid of some projects. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And that brings me straight to the cleanup challenge I did previously. When it comes to cleaning up, I, in my own space, still have so much to do, whether it's iPhone storage or iPad storage or literally the space around me. I stacked a bunch of stuff here from my parents when they were no longer around and when the house was sold. I also have this immense love for Lego and creating my own stuff. But, well, I've got something which is called hyperfocus. And, well, that gets the better of me every now and then. So that's something I'm going to work on too. Now, tomorrow I'll have another coaching session. The good news is, prior to it, I have a number of appointments where I'm just supposed to sit down. So I guess I'm just going to take the book with me and then see what's going to happen and just, make some notes. And, that's basically making the most of everything you can do. So today with the group coaching training, I was so focused on getting that opt-in page out there, and then last moment it was gone, and I was like, where is it? And I probably did something which I shouldn't have done. I changed the link, and because I still don't know the order and how everything fits nicely together, I was like, okay, that didn't make sense. But, well, I've taken pictures, so I can recreate it pretty quickly, so I'm not too worried about it. But the result was that when it was time to start group coaching training, I was like, oh my God, I'm still in the car. So I made sure that I gave them an assignment they could start with. And in the meanwhile, I was talking to them. So it's a good thing you can do Zoom on your phone. And by the time I arrived, I started up the actual training. So I recorded training. And then we spoke about the things that they had been working on and if there were other questions. And those things, they teach me too. They teach me too about how can I use my time as wisely as possible and as best as possible, especially during certain circumstances. Well, if you want to become part of the Influencer Challenge, then just let me know. I'll make sure there's a link in here so you can try it for 7 days. And otherwise, let me know how you influence yourself and what you need to work on. So when do you need to push through and keep going over and over again? Let me know. If you want to see more videos related to influence, then go there. Click that. Yes, right there.